Have you ever noticed that most people spend their lives searching for answers? They want answers about success, money, relationships, happiness, and purpose. They read books looking for answers. They attend seminars looking for answers. They ask successful people for answers. But what if they've been looking in the wrong place? What if the greatest answers you've been searching for are waiting behind a door that most people never open? Because before every answer, there is a reason. Before every result, there is a cause. Before every breakthrough, there is an understanding. The person who only searches for answers may find temporary solutions, but the person who learns to search for reasons discovers principles that last a lifetime. Today, we're going to explore a powerful idea that can transform the way you think, make decisions, and create success in every area of your life. Reasons come first, answers come second. One of the most important truths you can ever understand is that every result in life has a cause. Nothing simply appears out of nowhere. Success doesn't happen by accident, and failure rarely arrives without warning. Yet many people spend their lives focusing only on the results they can see, while completely ignoring the causes that created them. They look at someone's achievements and admire the outcome, but they never stop to examine the years of discipline, sacrifice, learning, and persistence that made those achievements possible. They see the harvest, but they never look at the seeds. They see the victory, but they never study the preparation. The reality is that every result, whether positive or negative, is connected to actions, habits, decisions, and attitudes that came before it. If a person is healthy, there are reasons behind that health. If a person is financially secure, there are reasons behind that security. If a person is respected, trusted, and influential, there are reasons behind that reputation. The visible result is only the final chapter of a story that began long before anyone noticed it. What people often call luck is frequently the outcome of consistent effort repeated over time. What people call talent is often the result of countless hours of practice. What people call overnight success is usually the reward for years of unseen work. When you begin to understand this principle, you stop being fascinated by outcomes and start becoming interested in causes. This shift in thinking changes everything. Instead of asking, "Why don't I have what they have?" you begin asking, "What did they do consistently that produced those results?" Instead of being frustrated by where you are, you become curious about the habits and decisions that brought you there. Because every action plants a seed. Every choice creates a direction. Every day contributes something to the future you are building. Small decisions may seem insignificant in the moment, but over time they accumulate and eventually produce results that cannot be ignored. The challenge for most people is that causes and effects are often separated by time. The cause happens today, but the result may not appear for weeks, months, or even years. That is why some people become discouraged. They want immediate evidence that their efforts matter. They want instant rewards. They want quick answers. But life operates according to principles, not impatience. The actions you repeat daily are shaping outcomes long before those outcomes become visible. Every book you read, every skill you develop, every disciplined choice you make is creating a future result, whether you can see it yet or not. When you truly accept that every result has a cause, you gain a new level of responsibility and power. You stop blaming circumstances for everything that happens. You stop waiting for luck to rescue you. You stop hoping that things will somehow change on their own. Instead, you begin examining the causes within your control. You pay attention to your habits, your mindset, your work ethic, your priorities, and your daily decisions, because you understand that today's causes become tomorrow's results. One of the greatest mistakes people make is rushing toward solutions before they fully understand the problem. They become so focused on finding answers that they never take the time to discover what is actually causing the challenge in the first place. In a world that celebrates speed, quick decisions, and instant results, patience has become a rare quality. Many people want immediate fixes. They want to remove discomfort as quickly as possible. They want simple answers to complex situations. But lasting progress is rarely built on quick reactions. It is built on understanding. Before a problem can truly be solved, it must first be understood. Before a situation can be improved, its root cause must be identified. The person who learns to understand before solving gains a tremendous advantage, because they are dealing with reality rather than assumptions. Think about how often people treat symptoms instead of causes. Someone struggles financially and immediately searches for ways to make more money, but never examines the spending habits, beliefs, or decisions that created the financial pressure. Someone experiences conflict in relationships and searches for ways to avoid arguments, but never takes time to understand the communication patterns that keep creating tension. Someone feels stuck in life and begins looking for a new opportunity, a new strategy, or a new environment without first understanding the habits and mindset that may be contributing to the situation. Solving without understanding is like trying to repair a machine without knowing which part is broken. You may appear busy, but activity alone does not guarantee progress. The most effective people develop the habit of asking deeper questions. They do not immediately jump to conclusions. They do not assume they already know the answer. Instead, they become students of the situation. They observe, they listen, they analyze, they seek clarity before taking action. They understand that the quality of a solution is directly connected to the quality of understanding behind it. A poor diagnosis leads to a poor solution, while a clear understanding often reveals the answer naturally. Sometimes the answer has been there all along, hidden beneath confusion, assumptions, and incomplete information. Understanding also creates wisdom. Knowledge tells you what happened, but understanding helps you see why it happened. Knowledge gives you facts, but understanding gives you perspective. When you understand the reasons behind success, you can repeat it. When you understand the reasons behind failure, you can avoid repeating it. Every challenge contains lessons that can only be discovered by looking beneath the surface. Those lessons become valuable assets that guide future decisions and prevent future mistakes. The people who make the greatest progress in life are not always the fastest decision makers. Often they are the most thoughtful observers. They recognize that clarity comes before confidence. They know that when understanding becomes deeper, solutions become stronger, actions become more effective, and results become more predictable, because they are working from insight rather than impulse. One of the most overlooked truths about success is that the quality of your life is often determined by the quality of the questions you ask yourself. Every person asks questions throughout the day, whether they realize it or not. The difference is that some questions lead to growth, while others lead to frustration. Some questions create possibilities, while others create limitations. Questions are powerful because they direct your focus, and whatever captures your focus eventually influences your decisions, your actions, and ultimately your results. A person who consistently asks empowering questions begins to see opportunities where others only see obstacles. A person who asks limiting questions often becomes trapped in a cycle of doubt and discouragement. The questions you ask act like a compass, quietly guiding the direction of your thoughts and determining where your attention will go. Consider what happens when a setback occurs. One person asks, "Why does this always happen to me?" Immediately, the mind begins searching for evidence to support that belief. It recalls previous disappointments, past mistakes, and negative experiences. The question creates a direction, and the mind follows it. Another person facing the same situation asks, "What can I learn from this experience?" Now the mind searches for lessons, opportunities, and ways to improve. The circumstances may be identical, but the questions are different, and therefore the directions are different. This is why two people can experience the same challenge, yet walk away with completely different outcomes. One becomes discouraged, while the other becomes wiser. Successful people are often distinguished by the questions they ask. They do not simply accept circumstances at face value, they dig deeper. They ask, "How can this be improved? What am I missing? What skill do I need to develop? What is the lesson hidden inside this challenge?" These questions encourage growth because they place responsibility where it belongs. Instead of focusing on blame, they focus on solutions. Instead of dwelling on problems, they search for possibilities. They understand that the mind is constantly looking for answers, and the answers it finds are usually determined by the questions it receives. Questions also reveal priorities. If you constantly ask questions about comfort, convenience, and avoiding difficulty, your actions will naturally move in that direction. But if you ask questions about growth, achievement, contribution, and purpose, your decisions will begin moving toward those outcomes. The direction of your life is influenced by the direction of your thinking, and the direction of your thinking is often shaped by the questions you repeatedly ask yourself. Every day, you are either asking questions that move you closer to your goals or questions that keep you where you are. The remarkable thing is that a single question can change the course of a day, a decision, or even a lifetime. A better question can create a better perspective. A better perspective can lead to a better decision. A better decision can create a better habit. And a better habit can produce a completely different future. Those who learn to ask thoughtful, purposeful, and empowering questions gain clarity, because they are no longer wandering without direction. They are intentionally guiding their minds toward discovery, growth, and meaningful progress. One of the most powerful decisions a person can make is to accept responsibility for their life. Not because they are responsible for everything that has happened to them, but because they are responsible for what they choose to do next. This simple shift in thinking creates a level of clarity that many people spend years searching for. When individuals avoid responsibility, they often become trapped in confusion, frustration, and blame. They spend their time focusing on circumstances, other people, bad luck, or factors beyond their control. The more attention they give to things they cannot change, the less power they feel they have. Personal responsibility changes that dynamic completely. It redirects attention away from excuses and places it on choices. It asks a simple but life-changing question: what can I do about this? The moment that question is asked sincerely, clarity begins to emerge. Many people believe responsibility is a burden, but in reality, it is one of the greatest sources of freedom. When you blame everything outside yourself, you also give away your ability to influence the outcome. If your success depends entirely on other people, circumstances, or luck, then you become a spectator in your own life. But when you accept responsibility, you reclaim your role as a participant. You begin to see that while you may not control every event, you do control your attitude, your effort, your decisions, and your response. This realization creates confidence because it focuses your energy on areas where action is possible, rather than areas where frustration is inevitable. Personal responsibility also brings honesty. It encourages you to examine your habits, your routines, your priorities, and your choices without defensiveness. Instead of asking, "Who is to blame?" you begin asking, "What role did I play?" That question is not meant to create guilt. It is meant to create awareness. Growth becomes possible when you can accurately assess where you are and why you are there. The person who refuses to examine their own actions often repeats the same mistakes. The person who is willing to look honestly at their decisions gains valuable insights that can lead to improvement. Clarity comes from seeing situations as they are, not as you wish them to be. This principle applies to every area of life. If your finances are not where you want them to be, taking responsibility helps you evaluate your spending habits, financial discipline, and long-term planning. If your career has stalled, responsibility encourages you to assess your skills, effort, and willingness to learn. If relationships are struggling, responsibility invites you to examine your communication, patience, and behavior. In each case, clarity begins to appear because you stop looking exclusively at external factors and start identifying the actions within your control. The people who make the greatest progress are rarely the ones with perfect circumstances. They are often the ones who take ownership of their choices. They understand that responsibility is not about assigning blame. It is about identifying influence. The more responsibility they accept, the more clearly they can see their path forward. Instead of feeling stuck, they recognize opportunities for improvement. Instead of being overwhelmed by problems, they focus on actions. Instead of waiting for conditions to change, they begin changing what they can. And that willingness to take ownership becomes the foundation for better decisions, stronger habits, and a clearer vision of the future. Most people spend their lives trying to avoid problems. They see challenges as interruptions, obstacles as frustrations, and difficulties as unwanted burdens. Whenever a problem appears, the natural reaction is often to wish it away as quickly as possible. Yet some of the most valuable lessons in life arrive disguised as problems. The experiences that test us are often the same experiences that teach us. The situations that challenge our patience, discipline, courage, and character are frequently the very situations that help us grow into stronger and wiser individuals. If life were completely free of difficulties, growth would be be limited because growth is often the result of overcoming resistance. Just as muscles develop through challenge, character develops through adversity. Problems are not simply barriers standing in the way of progress. Many times, they are part of the process that creates progress. When you look back over your life, you will often discover that your greatest lessons did not come during periods of comfort. They came during seasons of uncertainty, disappointment, failure, and struggle. Success may reward you, but problems educate you. Success often confirms what you already know, while challenges force you to learn something new. A financial setback may teach you the value of planning and discipline. A career disappointment may reveal the importance of persistence and adaptability. A difficult relationship may teach patience, communication, and understanding. Every challenge carries a lesson, and those lessons often become assets that serve you for years to come. The people who achieve lasting success are not those who never encounter problems. They are those who learn from them. One reason problems are such effective teachers is because they demand attention. When everything is going smoothly, it is easy to become comfortable and stop growing. But when a challenge appears, it forces you to think differently. It requires you to evaluate your approach, develop new skills, and discover strengths you may not have known you possessed. Problems have a way of revealing weaknesses that need improvement and strengths that need development. They expose gaps in knowledge, habits that need correction, and areas where growth is necessary. While these discoveries may be uncomfortable, they are often essential for future success. The difference between people is not the number of problems they face, it is how they respond to them. Some people see every problem as evidence that they should quit. Others see every problem as an opportunity to learn. One person focuses entirely on the inconvenience, while another focuses on the lesson. One becomes discouraged, while the other becomes stronger. The challenge itself may be the same, but the perspective is different. Those who treat problems as teachers gain wisdom from experiences that others simply endure. They understand that every difficulty contains information, every setback contains instruction, and every obstacle contains an opportunity to grow. Life has a unique way of preparing people for greater responsibilities through the challenges they face today. The patience learned during one struggle becomes valuable in a future opportunity. The discipline developed through one setback becomes essential for a future achievement. The confidence gained from overcoming one obstacle becomes the strength needed to face the next. Problems may not always arrive at convenient times, and their lessons may not always be immediately visible. But those who remain willing to learn often discover that their greatest growth came from situations they once wished they could avoid. Many people think success begins with action. They believe the first step is working harder, moving faster, or doing more. While action is certainly important, true success often begins much earlier than that. It begins with awareness. Before a person can improve their circumstances, they must first become aware of them. Before they can change a habit, they must recognize it. Before they can correct a mistake, they must acknowledge it. Awareness is the foundation upon which all meaningful growth is built. Without awareness, people continue repeating the same patterns, making the same decisions, and producing the same results without understanding why. Awareness shines a light on what has been hidden, allowing a person to see clearly where they are and what needs to change. One of the reasons many people remain stuck is not because they lack ability, intelligence, or opportunity. Often, they simply lack awareness. They are unaware of the habits that are holding them back. They are unaware of the beliefs influencing their decisions. They are unaware of how their daily choices are shaping their future. Success requires more than effort. It requires understanding. A person can work extremely hard and still move in the wrong direction if they are unaware of the behaviors and attitudes producing their current results. Hard work is valuable, but awareness ensures that effort is being invested wisely. It allows a person to identify what is helping them move forward and what is quietly slowing them down. Awareness begins with observation. It requires a willingness to honestly examine your life without excuses, denial, or distraction. It means paying attention to your routines, your habits, your thoughts, and your reactions. It means asking yourself difficult but important questions. What am I doing consistently? What results am I producing? What habits are serving me, and which habits are working against me? These questions create self-awareness, and self-awareness creates the opportunity for change. You cannot improve what you refuse to examine, and you cannot transform what you fail to recognize. The most successful people are often highly aware individuals. They pay attention to details others overlook. They notice patterns. They study their strengths and acknowledge their weaknesses. They seek feedback because they understand that awareness is one of the fastest paths to improvement. Instead of pretending they have all the answers, they remain students of life. They constantly evaluate, adjust, and refine their approach. This willingness to remain aware helps them make better decisions because they are operating from clarity rather than assumption. Awareness also helps people recognize opportunities. Many opportunities pass unnoticed because individuals are distracted, complacent, or focused on the wrong things. Awareness sharpens perception. It allows a person to see possibilities where others see ordinary circumstances. It helps them identify lessons hidden within challenges and advantages hidden within difficulties. As awareness grows, so does understanding. And as understanding grows, decisions become more intentional and effective. Every significant improvement in life starts with recognizing something that was previously overlooked. A better future begins when a person becomes aware of the habits that need changing, the skills that need developing, the mindset that needs strengthening, and the opportunities that deserve attention. Awareness creates clarity, and clarity creates direction. Once a person clearly sees where they are far better equipped to determine where they want to go and what actions will help them get there. The answers you're searching for are important, but the reasons behind them are even more powerful. When you learn to understand causes, ask better questions, take responsibility, learn from problems, and increase your awareness, life begins to reveal its deeper lessons. Remember, lasting success is rarely found in chasing answers. It is found in discovering the reasons that create them.